give a speech that I only learned about just a few minutes ago, but I will do the best I can with what I have. I will persuade you to like something that I like. And what I like is fast cars. When I was younger, I had a car that would drive very fast as long as somebody was able to keep it straight in the road. Keeping it straight was very hard for me because I was really distracted. I was distracted because I was 17. I was distracted with everything from girls to cows to wheat fields. And at one point in time, I think I was looking at a girl driving past a cow and ended up in a wheat field, all three at the same time. Fast cars nowadays are not what they used to be. We used to call them in the 70s and 60s muscle cars. I owned a 1972 442, an Oldsmobile. And this car was so fast on the takeoff, I used to have the person sitting in the passenger seat sit forward. I would lay a $5 bill on there, and if I could take off and he could grab it, he could keep it. If he did not, he paid me the $5. I didn't lose very many $5 bills. I was very quick on the draw, and I was the one saying go. So I had an advantage as I was doing this. I drove this 442 very fast because I liked it. We had a lot of straight roads where I lived. Not too many curves and hills. In the western part of Oklahoma, it is fairly flat. And so there was a lot of advantages to having a fast car like I had. I would enjoy telling you the feeling, and I mean when you take off and it just rears you back and just like you're taking off in a spaceship. And sometimes that's what I thought, that I was in my own little spaceship, and if I would just get going fast enough, I would land on the moon or somewhere near. At one point in time, I was clocked, and that was kind of before radar, but I was clocked on Interstate 35 doing 142 miles an hour. The highway patrolman says, I do not understand how anyone could drive or even want to drive that fast. I said, I like it. I want other people to like it. So I explained to him how it felt to drive that fast. He already knew. That was his job, was to chase people like me. So he told me at that time that no matter what I said, I could not talk my way out of this $250 ticket. In 1974, $250 was quite a bit. That was a lot of money, especially for a 17-year-old that only worked part-time after school. I didn't dare tell my father or my mother that I got this ticket in this car that they tried to tell me was not for me. Dad, I know what I'm doing. I want you to like it as much as me. He said, probably not. I am a little bit beyond that. And I said, okay. He explained to me that I would be spending multiple dollars on repairs, tires, all of the things that I thought were just there. Just come with the car, because that's the way I bought it. I didn't know at the time just how right he was. But he did tell me he was beyond that kind of a car. I didn't think too much about that statement. I wanted him to like my car. So I said, let's go take a ride, Dad. He explained at that time that he was busy, but if he had 5 minutes, he would spare it. And I said, in 5 minutes, we can go a long ways. Hop in. He did. In 5 minutes, we covered several miles. And he, well, this is a pretty fast car, he explained. And I said, Dad, it's a good car. It rattled a little bit, but that was just because of the way I drove it. We lived down 1.5 miles of some of the roughest Kingfisher County road that there ever was. And it was washboarded, and we crossed railroad tracks. And the car flew down the road, and I thought that was the best way. 75 miles an hour down a dirt road made you go over the bumps, and it was a lot smoother. It was kind of like an airplane, I believe. Once I took off, I was in the air, driving over the bumps. I was above the bumps, all was well. Until I started replacing shocks, drive lines, rear ends. But the thing that I would like for each and every one of you to understand is just how fun it is. Just the exhilarating thought of taking off and leaving rubber and smoke and everything behind me. With a little bit of money and a whole lot of time and effort, I was able to raise the front wheels off the ground. It cost quite a bit. My dad would not let me borrow gas money. He would not let me borrow tire money. He would not let me borrow any money that would go into this car, but I could not get him to like it. He explained to me that someday you will understand where I'm coming from when I explained and told you this. Experience, he says, is sometimes the best teacher, and that's where he dropped the conversation. A couple of weeks after that, we went to visit my grandparents. I was going to drive this fast car to my grandfather's, and I decided not to, so I rode with the family, and I was all happy, and we're going to get to see him, and I'm going to tell my grandfather what a wonderful car I had. I said something to him about Dad really not caring for the car that I had. And he said, there's not much of a wonder why. And I said, what do you mean? He took out an old photograph that he had of a 1942 Oldsmobile Highway Special that my dad had chopped up, fixed up, and made fast. He claimed that he could leave Cushing, drive 6 miles in 4 minutes. That's pretty fast. My grandfather claimed when he came off the hill out of town, we heard him 6 miles away. So my thought tonight is that I would ask each and every one of you, if you ever get a chance to drive fast in a car safely, to do so. There's nothing better than the exhilaration of the acceleration. Thank you very much.